Yay, thank you everyone. We do have a pretty good agenda today. We have lots to cover, but I do want to start our agenda first by talking a little bit about the first responder and essential medical personnel program that we have going on. This is not on your agenda. However, I felt like it was a really important topic to kind of give you a little bit of clarification on, because we, of course, are hearing from parents, and we're hearing messages sent to us through parents, and then we're hearing from some providers that have some concerns about how the program is rolling out and just need some clarification. So I want to provide a little bit of that. First, let me tell you, you guys are doing a great job of supporting our first responders and essential medical personnel parents through this. A lot of them have been with you as a private pay parent and have not ever had to do anything additional in order to have their child care services. So for a lot of them, this is a new journey, and you all have been very, very patient with how you are enrolling them and kind of teaching them the process of how you do the sign in and out sheets and how you see their certificate of eligibility and things of that nature. So thank you for that. A little bit of clarification. We've gotten quite a few phone calls from parents, and they're getting kind of nasty with our staff. I know you can't imagine that from your angel parents that come to you every day, but they are not treating our staff very well over the phone. And some of them are coming to us and saying, my provider said, do not let them tell you that they can't or won't. And that little attitude that you heard in my voice is very mild compared to some of what these parents are saying to us. So just a little bit of clarification for you all so that you understand what we're dealing with on our end. We have 435 parents that have applied since we started this program a month ago. That's a lot of new enrollments. The other piece of that is they do have to be in the medical field or supporting the medical field, and that is determined by where they work and their job where they work, or they have to be a first responder. So let me tell you a little bit about what that looks like. So this morning I actually had a parent call, and it turned out for her because she was actually using services in a different county, but she is an administrator for the city of Ocala. That does not count under the first responder or essential medical personnel program, okay? So we could not offer her services under the BG1 ESS billing group. The second thing that I wanted to clarify is what we are telling parents when they call. So when parents call us, and it's me walking them through, I let them know that we will pay for a majority of their child care tuition. However, there is something called a differential that most of our providers charge, and they would be directly responsible to pay that differential to their provider on a daily, weekly, monthly, however they pay you. So if they pay you weekly, then they would be responsible for that differential directly to you. And that ELC will cover the market rate for tuition that we're allowed to pay. I also let them know that this program does not cover their registration fees. So if you are charging a registration fee, then they would be responsible for paying that if you choose to charge it. I know a lot of our providers are waiving those fees right now, and there's some other discussion around registration fees. That is for another conference call. The other thing I wanted to clarify is we've recently learned from the Office of Early Learning that we cannot transfer those parents that are already enrolled with you through school readiness. If they are already a BG1 parent, we cannot transfer them over to BG1 ESS. Give me just a second, I'm going to pause for a minute. So just to add a little bit more to that essential services definition, so BG1 BG1 basically tells us that the parent is on a referral for services. And then the ESS definition for essential worker, that definition came from the executive order from the governor. So that, the breakdown of who falls under that, we have shared that with you in the past, and we can send it out again so that you can see who falls under that particular definition. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is the certificate. So a lot of parents are calling us saying, I need something to show my child care provider. This is not any different than you enrolling a school readiness child on a daily basis, however you would enroll them before. So meaning it's all through EFS mods or your provider portal. You would accept the enrollment, and then that parent would show up on your attendance roster. The parent has to go in and accept the terms and conditions in order for you to see the certificate, just like always. So you won't have something in writing, you won't have a certificate that the parent brings to you. You will not have that piece of it. The last thing that I wanted to tell you, again, I just want to reiterate back on the BG1. So I had a question from a child care provider this morning in email that says, why does my BG1 parent not, or why does my essential worker who's a nurse not qualify for this? And it could be because they are already receiving services under the BG1 category. So I'm going to pause there and see if we have any questions right now.
Yes, we do have one question. Do parents get a full 90 days under the first responder program if the referral starts in June, and will the provider be eligible for the bonus for June, July, and August?
Okay, so that's a multi-part question. So let me answer the first one first. The parent's referral will be good for 90 days. Now, here's where it's a little different, and this is a different program than we've ever had before. The 90 days could essentially, will start, if the child was already enrolled as a private pay with you as of April 1st, then the parent's referral will go April 1st to June 30th. Okay, so that's a full 90 days. However, if they were already enrolled, it starts all the way back to April 1st. That's the directives that we have received from OEL. Now, if the child just enrolled with you, let's use today as an example, then their care would go from today and end 90 days from now. The second part of your question is asking if
it's about the bonus.
The bonus.
So basically, the bonuses that you will get is up to 8 children a month, total of $12,000. I know the original FAQ that had went out said it was going to be 3 consecutive months. We did get that in writing last week, that if you only have 2 this month, we can pay you for those 2 this month. And then next month, if you have 8, we can pay you for the 8. Up to $4,000 in a month, to a total of $12,000. So if you max out at your $12,000 in July and you still have the first responders in August, you will not receive any more bonus once you hit your $12,000 bonus.
Of course, it's our goal to hopefully deliver as much as we possibly can and ensure people get as close to their 12,000 or meet their 12,000. Something else to go with those answers is, earlier today we had a provider who was very concerned about a parent's employment. The only way we can finalize the referral is by the verification of the HR department at the parent's employer. So if the HR department says, yes, Johnny Smith is employed here, then that is the verification that we need to confirm that they are falling within the category of essential medical personnel or first responder. We cannot do anything outside of that. the provider was concerned that the parent was not employed there as of a certain date, but we were covering services as of that date. We can look further into that. However, I do want to let you know that the verification of employment does come directly from the HR staffing personnel. So once that comes in, that is our outside verification to know that that parent meets the purpose of care for this particular program. The second part of that is there is a potential that your parents that received services April 1st through June 30th, that their referral will be renewed, which will give them an additional 90 days of service. We are still looking at who that impacts, but it's just like any other BG1 parent. When that referral needs to be renewed, we will go through that process again with the employer to ensure the parent is still meeting the purpose of care, and you would receive a renewed certificate in EFS mod showing that that parent is still eligible to attend your site. So let me stop there and see if there's any questions. We just gave you a lot of updated information on the essential medical personnel and first responder program. I'm saying that backwards.
Basically, it's asking, would the first responder money be with our regular check, or will it be a separate check? Finance is not in here right now, so if it's not on the same day, it'll probably be within a couple of days with it, but we'll get that answer from finance for you. And I'm assuming you are talking about the bonuses with that question. The next question is, do you have to be a BG1 to get the bonus? I have a responder that I already had that was not a BG1, so I will still get the bonus from them.
So they have to be BG1 ESS. They can't be BG1 11 or BG1, I don't know, and the other ones right off the top of my head, 5, something to that extent. They have to be BG1 ESS. And remember, if they are already attending your program under the BG1 category, we cannot switch them over to BG1 ESS. So in that case, then that parent would not qualify for the bonus because they have to be BG1 ESS.
Just wanted to confirm the first responder does cover school-age students.
Yes, it covers our what school readiness covers, so birth until they turn 13. Excuse me. And actually, to add to that, we did have a parent ask yesterday who is about to give birth to her second child and ask if she could go ahead and put them on the program now. And I had to tell her, no, school readiness doesn't serve prenatal, so she should add that baby once the baby's born. She can add them to her application when she's ready to place them in childcare.
We're good.
Okay, so thank you for letting us take a moment to talk about that. I'm going to turn the agenda over to Scott to give you a little update on mini grants, and then we're going to follow through our agenda.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm going to talk to you, like she said, about just giving you all a few updates on the mini grants, and then the second one as well on some of the provider profile updates. Real quick, I mean, the mini grants are coming in well. I've been receiving them ever since our call last Tuesday. I think I have about 55 applications today. They all look really good. Everything is filled out appropriately. Maybe I've had 2 or 3 that did it on the old form by accident, but other than that, they're looking really good. I've had a few questions come in about, you know, when are we going to know if we're eligible or not? Really, we're just checking. Of the 3 eligibility requirements, it's really just the one around the corrective action plan that presents any kind of challenge to us. The other 2 are fairly easy to determine. So if you could be patient with us, I'd say by the latest, by the end of next week, we should have at least the eligibility results for everybody, which we will be emailing to you individually. That's really all I have for right now about the mini grants. Oh, as the agenda says, these are, we are requesting that your eligibility form, if you want these mini grants to be submitted no later than next Tuesday, the 26th by midnight. Again, I think I have a large majority of them, but if you have not yet applied and you plan to apply, please do that as soon as possible. So let's pause there for a moment and just see if we have any mini grant questions.
While Marcy's looking for that, I just want to add something to that. If you think you might remotely be eligible, you should apply. We're trying, and the reason we put a due date on it is because we are trying to look at the financial side of it and plan accordingly so that everybody reaps the most benefit from these grants. And you're not going to be able to apply for your teacher stipends in that same fashion, so there's not a deadline for the teacher stipends because that has to be when they're taking those trainings. So let's see, is there any questions? No questions?
No questions.
And I forgot to ask the staff that are in the room to introduce themselves. So obviously, you know, I'm here, Elizabeth Viola, and let me stop and let everybody introduce themselves.
Marcy, Business Information Director.
Scott Stevenson, Quality Initiatives Director.
Liliana Howard, Professional Development Quality Services.
Mary Brewster, Provider Relations.
So that's everybody that's in here today. We have a little bit smaller of a group, but we do have some other staff that are on the phone, I'm sure. So we thank everybody for joining us today. And we're going to move on to our
One question did pop up.
one question popped up.
Are we going to be notified if you even received our mini grant application?
At this time, we are not sending out typically as soon as we receive them. We are not, but if you're wondering if we got it, please just shoot me a quick email. I have gotten some of those as well, and I generally shoot an email right back, just letting you know that we did receive it.
Next question. I checked all the boxes for the mini grant. Is that the right thing to do? Just wanted to confirm.
Yes, we did encourage you all to go ahead and check all the boxes to allow you every opportunity to get as much assistance as possible that these can offer. So yes, you did the right thing.
Isn't that comforting to know you did the right thing? You did the right thing.
No more questions.
Okay, so we can go on to provider profile update.
Okay, so for this, really this is just a reminder. Up until now, we've been telling you, please get this done by the end of May, please. We're asking you now to please get this done, preferably today, Friday at the latest. The reason being is that these absolutely need to be active and good to go by the end of the month. So if you submit it Friday and for whatever reason we might have to reject it to have you change something, we need that time to communicate with you. A lot of times, it takes a day or two to do the back and forth with you all. So please try to get those done Friday. And if you can, after this call, log in and try to knock it out today.
And one of the things, I was working with a provider this morning, one of the things I noticed is that she was having a hard time updating a date on her new profile. Well, what we figured out was because the date was already expired on her current profile, she was not able to update it on her new profile. So as soon as we went in and changed her DCF license date on the current profile to the current expiration date, and it was no longer an expired document, it allowed her to go in and update that on her 2021 profile. So if you're finding you're stuck somewhere or you're not able to do something, let us brainstorm with you. We have Sienna and Mary that are primarily working on these updates. And let me tell you why this is so important. This is so important because if you don't update this, we will not be able to initiate a new contract for you. That's why the due date is the way it is. We want to keep you on board, and that goes for both VPK and school readiness. So if you, the first step is always to submit a new updated profile for the next year. And from there, that stems all other business that you do with the coalition. So it's that important. Please take the time to go ahead and do that as soon as possible. No later than Friday. Friday. I want to win.
And one of the questions is, what about the out-of-county providers?
So out-of-county providers, you're having to depend on your home county to really start the process. We will definitely work with you if you can't get yours done by then. We know who you are, and we appreciate it because quite a few of our out-of-county providers have been pretty vocal saying, but my home county is not ready yet, and that's fine. That's fine. Do follow the lead of your home county, and we will work with you on your profile afterwards. But those of you in Mary County, you got to get it done. I want to win. We're only at like 48% done.
One thing I wanted to mention as well, since we're talking, it ties into the provider profile updates. If you're a VPK provider and you have not yet updated your 2021 profile, I am unable to initiate that VPK application for you. The good news is that I did that this week for about 60 providers. So a lot of you should be receiving notifications from the portal that your VPK application was initiated, so you can start working on that. But again, if you have not done that in your VPK, I can't do that.
Ready for questions?
Yep. Any questions? Let's check and see if we have questions.
How do I know if our provider profile is approved?
When you go into your portal, it'll say active. You'll go into your 2021 profile, and it should say active. If it says rejected, that means someone in our quality staff has gone in and seen something that needed updating or that was missing and has shot it back to you for action, and would require you to do something in order to take it out of that rejected status. And then we would have to go in and yet approve that again. So it's going to be in an active status. That's when you know that your profile is good to go.
What about rejected provider updates, which have been resubmitted but no response?
For those, be patient with us. We're probably getting to them today. We have our quality staff going in there looking at, we call them our queues, which kind of point out when a provider has reached out to us to take action in the portal. So what I would say to that to get immediate help, if you're a provider and you fall between the letters A and I, you would actually reach out to Sienna McFarland. She is our provider specialist, provider relations specialist for those providers. And then J through the letter Z is Mary Brewster. So reach out to them as you need help with these profiles.
What are the requirements to do VPK during the summer? Staff credentials are the same?
Staff credentials are not the same. Take it. Okay, so basically the credentials, your teacher has to be a bachelor degree teacher in a specific subject matter. So if you have a question about whether one of your staff qualifies or not, we can have one of our team go over the qualifications with you. But a bachelor's degree, none of the qualifications have changed for summer requirements. We still have to provide 300 hours worth of programming, and you have to have a bachelor degree teacher. You have to be a legally operating provider that's either licensed through DCF or accredited by an approved accrediting agent, and have to have that director with the VPK credential. Thank you. So there are different requirements for summer, but we are going to talk about your summer plans here in a little bit at the end of our agenda. So I'd like to hear something from some of you about whether you're going to offer summer VPK or summer programming. Any other questions?
Not at this time.
All right. So we're going to talk about professional development. We have been successful in securing a virtual CPR first aid class. That registration is up on our website right now. Let me just detail a little bit of how that works. So this is 100% online. There are a handful of vendors who can offer a completely virtual CPR and first aid experience for your staff. We're still offering it at $10 per person. And what happens is I set the cutoff date for the 22nd of May because I've had quite a few people already call us, call our team, reach out to me directly and say, I have to renew my CPR and first aid. What are my options? And so our team did some research and came up with worked with American Heart Saver, which is who used to come in and do our trainings face-to-face. And hopefully in the future, we'll do that again. But for now, safety first. And our training is going to be completely virtual. So what that means is everybody that signs up by Friday, May 22nd, I will send the list up to American Heart Saver. American Heart Saver will then reach out based on the email address registered. So your team, when they register, you don't want to register your staff. Your staff need to register themselves because the entire process will be associated with that email address that they register with. So you're going to want to have your staff register with their own email address because they will then receive a link directly from American Heart Saver. And that link will be good for 45 days. Now, here's what I don't know. I don't know if it's from the day that they receive the link or the day that they first log in. My guess is that it starts the clock the day they log in. That's my guess, but I don't know that for sure. So they have 45 days to complete this online virtual CPR and first aid course. What that means is that they're doing everything self-paced. So the course will walk them through, just like a lot of you're used to some virtual courses that you've taken maybe through DCF or some other means, where you answer questions and it allows them to progress through the actual course. And then there is an evaluation at the end of the course. So I'm asking those that are ready to take that initially right now, go ahead and go to our website and sign up. And the first round of staff that need that CPR and first aid, I'll send it up to American Heart Saver and we'll go from there. So let me pause for a second. Thank you for allowing us to briefly pause just to make sure we were on the same page. The other training that we are offering is a Teaching Strategies Gold Introduction and Integrator Reliability Certification course. So let me break that one down because it's a really long name. It's a 6-hour training. It's a virtual training. It will occur on June 13th, and the entire training will happen that day. So the way we've set it up with TS Gold, Scott had a very good conversation with our representatives, and the way we set it up is the first 3 hours will be an introduction to TS Gold. That's for those of you, if you recall last year, there's a potential for a differential that you can qualify for through your contract with School Readiness if you choose to offer the TS Gold Child Assessment and you choose to conduct that assessment with your School Readiness children, then you're eligible for an additional payment based on being qualified. Now, the other piece to that is 75% of your staff have to be reliable. That's where this inter-rater reliability comes into play. Now, this training will not make your staff certified. They have to take an assessment through TS Gold to become certified. However, it will provide, the second half of the training will provide tips and tricks that will support them in becoming certified. So if you think you might be interested at all in the differential for School Readiness for child assessment, then this is a great opportunity to get your staff acclimated to what TS Gold looks like and how to conduct it. And then there's also the second half of that training is the Integrator Reliability Certification support part. This class is completely online as well. It's virtual. We are going to be able to provide for 20 participants the TS Gold book so that your staff can go through that. Now, we are asking that those register. I believe there's only 16 spots left when I looked today. As soon as we opened that course up, people are starting to register for it. So if you feel like you are interested in that, please go ahead and register. There's a max, I think I have it capped off at 20, but we can extend it to 25 participants for that. Let me pause and see if there's any other questions right now.
We do have a question on the VPK, going back. Will you still need a minimum of 4 to have a VPK class start?
So that's for summer programming, that's actually been waived right now. You do not have, for the summer program only, you do not have to have your 4 children in order to start the program. We have not had any directives given to us about the fall program. So just to repeat that, for the summer program, you do not have to have your 4 children in order to start your program like you typically would.
What is the difference between the 6-hour training you were talking about and the 6-hour training that we took at the ELC office?
The difference would be the Integrator reliability piece. That would be the difference. You do need to attend this whole 6-hour course, though, in order to get credit for it. If you took the first piece and you only want the 3 hours for Integrator reliability, Scott can look into whether we can add additional participants for the second half of that training if your staff is interested in that Integrator reliability piece. That is a tongue twister for me. So we can look into that if that's what you're interested in, but that is the difference, is that the intro course probably touched on it, but this one will go in a little more depth. I'm going to pause for just a second. All right, let's look and see if we have any more questions.
Okay, one is, if a child started VPK in January of this year and only attended until spring break, are they eligible for summer VPK?
So potentially yes. I would tell you have the parent contact us or to go online and apply for an extreme hardship through their application on our website, through the parent portal. And Michelle Urban, who is our VPK guru here, she will do the research. From what we understand, if they did not meet their 70%, they would be potentially eligible. I'm saying potentially because you just never know with circumstances, and I don't want to make promises. It's an individual research piece. We have to look at each child individually and where they went. So the answer to that is maybe. Let us look at it, but have the parent go in and apply for an extreme hardship through their parent portal so that Michelle Urban can look into that and see if they are eligible.
Where do they find the CPR training link?
You can go to, so it's in the email I sent out today. You can go to our website and it's under professional development under the provider tab on elc-marion.org. If you click the provider tab and then professional development, both of those trainings are there. We did receive some information from DCF, so if you're signing up for CPR on first day, we may potentially be getting in touch with you. But go ahead and sign up and we'll handle it.
Will the TS Gold training course qualify for providers on probation since we have to do screenings and assessments?
No, it will not. It has to be specified. Lily, why don't you add more to that since you're saying no?
So the child screenings and assessments that are related to VPK providers on probation, is that what you're referring to? I just want to make sure. Okay, that is a different assessment. That doesn't have to do. That's not the same assessment that Teaching Strategies Goals does.
Right. So VPK assessment.
The VPK assessment assesses their academic ability, where Teaching Strategy Goals takes a look at the whole child's development. So that's why one's not related to the other.
Thank you, Lily.
No other questions.
Okay, so now I would like if you, and to give us feedback, you can type it in the box on your screen. There's a Q&A box there. And what we would like to know is what other topics of training do your staff need? We are working on virtual options of different types of training for your team. So if you're talking about infant tub, if you're talking about summer options, especially what does summer and during COVID-19 look like? If you have any suggestions for training topics, we would love to hear about what those are. And real quick, before we get to the last, because I do want to encourage you to raise your hand and share out with the entire group if you're doing a summer program. But before we get to that, I want to just send a real quick reminder. We still have a few providers that haven't completed their survey because they were closed in April. And if you are one of the 4 providers who haven't completed it, we're aware of one provider who we're working with right now. And that is a extenuating circumstance as to why they haven't completed theirs. But our staff has been trying to reach you to get that survey completed. If it is not complete, you probably will not get paid. So it's a big deal for you to complete that survey if you were closed for the month of April. And that survey, you can find it by logging into EFS Mod. If you had been in contact with us stating that you were closed, then the potential for them to for that survey to pop up should be there. Because if you were open, that survey is not going to necessarily pop up. But if there's any days you were registered closed with us, then it should pop up for you. Any additional questions yet?
Okay, the survey that is in mod, if you just contracted with us, then no, you would not have to fill it out. It's only for the providers that were closed during the month of April.
There you go. We're just looking to see if there's any other questions before we move on to our last topic on our agenda.
And some of the providers are putting what topics they would like.
Thank you. We appreciate that. That's going to help Miss Lily and Tiffany to plan our professional development opportunities coming up for you.
No more questions.
Okay, so this is where I want to talk about summer VPK and summer programming in general. There's a lot of buzz around the state about the landscape of childcare and summer programs. We've gotten quite a few emails from Parks and Rec and a couple of other places that are saying summer programming is happening. And then I would like to gather some information about what are your plans? What are you going to do? I'd love to hear your voice. We miss you. And the way you can speak is by raising your hand, and when Marcy sees it, we can open the floor for you to just share out about what your summer plans are if anybody wants to share. I know I learned on a call this morning that Head Start is offering a summer program for the month of July for some of their Head Start clients at a few select locations. We know other places are planning to do some other things, but we still have to keep in mind we're still under a pandemic. So I would love to hear some of your great creative ideas. Any takers? And while Marcy's looking to see if any of you raised your hand, I did put in the email today, I sent out, I don't know what time I sent it out, probably 12-ish, maybe a little after, with the link again to the meeting today and the agenda. In there's like a survey button that says, do you want to continue this call? Do you want weekly? And I forgot to actually say that in the meeting.
Can you put it up on here?
I would just like to know if you all would like these calls to continue weekly or if you want to move to a bi-weekly schedule. I promised last week we would ask you to see if this is still convenient for you on a weekly basis. And now Marcy has the poll open, so if you could just take a second and click whether you would want your meetings weekly to continue or every other week. That will help us plan.
And while that poll is open, I'm going to open up Elizabeth Field's line.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're good. So I just wanted to share kind of what Marion County Public Schools is planning for summer. And of course, we're awaiting guidance like everybody else. But for families that are interested in having some summer support, we're going to provide small group virtual options in the month of June because our campuses are still closed. We plan to send or make backpacks full of materials, manipulatives, all the hands-on things that parents would need to complete the lessons. And then we'll do a small group circle time, probably once or twice a week for about an hour, depending on the number of kids. We don't plan on having any groups larger than 10 with any one person. And then we hope to offer some face-to-face opportunities for families in July, probably the second, third, fourth week in July, short 7:30 to 4:30. We're thinking, again, small groups, but we're still kind of awaiting guidance from OEL on that.
Awesome. That sounds wonderful. Thank you. That's a unique way of reaching your families.
Okay, the next person with the hand raised is Francine. Francine, you are self-muted, but your line is open.
So, Miss Francine, if you unmute yourself, then we would love to hear your beautiful voice.
Hello. I was just
Hey,
would
there
like
you
to
are.
thank you. I would just like to say I'm also doing the summer program where I have kindergartners already, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna do they're actually here at my daycare and keeping them pretty much caught up on their schoolwork so they don't forget it in the summertime if you just neglect that. So we're doing the Starfalls and we're doing Kid Vision, VPK. We're also going to do a garden. We're just doing stuff to keep them occupied with science and to keep them with their work that they're not getting in school so that their mind will be fresh for when they start back for the fall.
Awesome. So what age groups are you serving?
Right now I have kindergartners and I'm supposed to get a VP care next week, and that's why I was going to ask you all about the summer VPK, but I think you say you still have to have your bachelor's degree in order to do the summer. So I'm still going to take them and just take the kids in the fall. So, but I'll call you all in person. But
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely reach out to Mary or Sienna, and we can work through the different options for summer and looking for a teacher or the requirements. Thank you for sharing. That sounds like a fun program. So right now you have 4-year-old, 5-year-old. So you're
Right.
looking at more the VPK up to.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to read some of the ones that have come through.
So we have some that just submitted in writing. So Marcy's going to read those ideas out to you in case that sparks something for you.
Currently have school teachers working on planning summer camp. Issue is staffing with groups of less than 10.
Understandable, definitely.
For the summer, we are still recommended to have 10 people in the classroom, 9 and a teacher. Will that recommendation be changing? If it is changing, when will this happen?
So that goes back to the CDC guidelines. Yesterday in my update, I went ahead and resent out the CDC guidelines for reopening child care centers. And that recommendation is going to stay as long as we're under an emergency. You know, we can't really anticipate how long the CDC is going to continue to recommend that 9 to 1 or 2 to 8 as far as teacher ratio to children in a space, but it's all about safety. These are recommendations, and it's all about safety. It is, trying to make sure that while our communities are opening back up, and I've definitely noticed, as I'm sure you all have, the difference in traffic. You can definitely tell that there are a lot of stores and restaurants and things opening back up, and things are starting to get busy again. And so it's all about safety.
We have a couple more, but we're at 5 minutes with the poll being up. At this moment, we've got about 69% of our viewers. have voted. And just so you know, all of the people on are providers. That gives it the bulk. And percent of those who said weekly.
Well, we're going to stay tuned weekly. Doing these calls, and I'll check again. I don't want to do these weekly. That you are, that tells me if that's you. So we got through our agenda pretty quick today. It wasn't a real packed agenda, but of course, if you have a topic you want to see us cover on one of these calls, that would be very helpful. And then I want to see if there's any more feedback about summer programming. Do we have providers on there that are interested in doing summer programs? EPK, like EPK program.
There are a couple more here.
Couple more, okay.
One says there's a summer camp for kindergarten through school agers.
At their site?
At their site.
Which site is that?
That is Pastor Bell Camp.
Pastor Bell Camp, awesome. That's kids prep. Is that at both, or are you doing a site?
We're having a summer full summer from 6, including breakfast. These are altered. Opening and operating.
That's good to know.
That does anybody have any recommendations on transportation during COVID?
Okay, so if you are a provider offering transportation at this time or plan to during the summer, if you would raise your hand so that we can hear your voice and see if we can get your, what does that look like within the CDC guide? And that's how you put. We are providers. Students. Hasn't changed.
Liz Fields with Youth for Private Providers. I'm not sure how to help everyone, but I feel like there will be a lot of teachers from the school district that may be looking for summer work since it offers summer employment. An option to look out for.
Thank you.
CBO will do a summer program with breakfast, lunch, and snack.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I know some said that we were having some issues with hearing. Is it getting any better?
I think sometimes with the breaking up, it just depends on the weather, and we've had like the rain this morning, then it got clear. No idea what it looks like out, but it was very windy, which could have some connection in general.
Camp says our several sites. Center for the middle school. The trips. Lots of home economics, cooking classes, STEM projects, private basketball camp, classes, gardening, gym, class, yoga. We have to compensate for the activities, field trips we are not able to do this summer.
And, you know, I think that's a great suggestion to kind of Pinterest cap this and think about what they're being offered. Like one of the things our keynote and at our provider 12 karate class, Facebook, twice a week or once a week, but a week, and he's doing on Wednesdays at people that are getting really do at the field. So let's say you're going to go to Uncle Donald's farm down in the Villages area for a field trip. Could you instead have your kids bring in a stuffed animal that's a farm animal and make it?
They're having a real hard time hearing us at this moment. Yeah.
Okay. So just getting creative, and what we're saying is that this is not going as far as you being able to. So we're going to stop there. We'll and open so that you written questions to respond to. But for now, we're goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you next. Is getting bad anyway. So said to add, but we email. So that we're going to questions and see if we together in a follow. The follow probably won't. But take care of your safe, and thank you again for doing what you do.